Crushed by cash, cut off alone, 5 silent killers, money woes, no help, divorce, division, isolation are shredding American families' minds. Research screams it. Despair's winning. Hopelessness is spiking. Stick with me. This is America's mental health meltdown, and I've got your shield. We're exposing the epidemic and arming you against deaths of despair. Heads up, this episode dives into mental health struggles that might hit close to home or feel heavy for some. Take care of yourself. Skip or pause if you need. First up, let's unpack how these 5 traps sneak in and the one move that could save your sanity. Hi friends, welcome to the New Normal Big Life podcast. We bring you natural news and stories about nature that we hope will inspire you to get outside and adventure, along with a step-by-step plan to help you practice what you've learned and create your own new normal and live the biggest life you can dream. I'm your host, Antoinette Lee, the Wellness Warrior. Despair stalks, strike back now. Here's armor for your mind. Let's talk about America's top 5 mental health challenges, beginning with the lingering economic strain. The middle class is shrinking fast. Financial stress from job loss, underemployment, or living paycheck to paycheck can lead to anxiety, depression, and tension between partners and families. For instance, a family struggling to pay for necessities like food and housing due to a job loss or underemployment can experience more anxiety and depression. The growing economic inequalities through the ever-shrinking middle class, where home ownership and affording the things that make life enjoyable makes those issues worse by limiting access to resources that could reduce mental health problems. Surveys like the KFF-CNN Mental Health in America survey indicate that economic hardship is a significant stressor, with many families struggling with basic needs, which in turn affects mental health outcomes. Here are some healthy economic strategies that you can start today. Listen, I'm not financially lucky, I'm financially strategic. And these are strategies that they've kept me and my household financially stable no matter what happens in the economy. First, go on a spending diet. I spent 12 months not spending anything that wasn't a basic necessity. That means I bought food and paid for health and wellness care and basic living expenses. I didn't buy anything for 12 months. When I met my financial goals, I maintained an easily affordable lifestyle. You can do this by pretending you earn 50 to 75% less than you actually earn. This strategy keeps you from living paycheck to paycheck, and you'll have more money for savings and debt reduction. You might be asking yourself, how do I pay down debt and build savings when there's nothing left over after paying bills? I took on a part-time job in retail, in addition to my work as a writer and business consultant in the gig economy, and I used 100% of the money earned from my part-time job to pay off debt and save to buy a house and a new outdoor vehicle. While on my spending diet, I quit social media. For 12 months, I avoided social media. Not seeing others post about the happiest and most fun parts of their lives removed my fear of missing out and feelings like everyone's life is better than mine. Those people might have had more things, more material possessions, but I had more fun, and I was sacrificing today for a better future. I prioritized camping, kayaking, hiking, climbing, archery, and learning new skills for work like AI prompt engineering. It was important to me to celebrate my progress at every step. I celebrated the little things, checking off accomplishments on my vision board and watching balances on my accounts owed go down and savings increase were causes for celebration. But I didn't spend money to celebrate. I played one of my favorite songs and danced while celebrating my awesomeness. Except for a new cabin in the woods on a few acres and a new dream outdoor vehicle, I'll be debt-free by fall 2025. The discipline it took to reach this goal was easier than I thought. I redirected time spent on expensive outings like mimosa Sundays with friends toward low-cost and free outdoor adventures, while my friends blew hundreds of dollars each week on outfits, shoes, food, and drinks. I was active and social with friends and nature. These are all healthy habits that we'll talk about in future podcasts, so follow and subscribe. To do the things I've done to create lifelong financial security for myself wouldn't have been possible if I didn't work on my head game. But for many, the lack of access to mental health services leaves them struggling to survive and unable to thrive. Even when families recognize the need for mental health support, barriers such as cost, stigma, or a lack of available providers can prevent them from getting help. And when it comes to masculine men and boys, the fear of their character being labeled as toxic masculinity is keeping them from seeking mental health in the current climate, which demonizes their character type, the masculine male. You can learn more about the toxic nature of toxic masculinity as a label and what to do about it in our podcast episode on this topic. In addition, the American Psychiatric Association classifies substance use disorders under psychiatric conditions, further affirming the link between drug addiction and mental health. Recognizing addiction as a mental health challenge is crucial for developing effective treatment strategies that address the whole person, not just the symptoms of substance abuse. Studies show that a substantial number of Americans feel that mental health and drug treatment services are not accessible, with issues like long wait times, inadequate insurance coverage, and a shortage of mental health professionals. But there's also this lack of trust among the general public and healthcare providers. Before we cover the next topic in this episode, I want to introduce you to the adventure sports lifestyle with what I call a micro story about an adventure that I've had. The adventure sports lifestyle and my deep connection to nature is essential to my good health. So here's the story. Some people stand at the river's edge on property they own and wonder what it's like downriver. I get in my kayak, read the river, and go experience what it's like downriver for myself. I hope this inspires you to get outside and adventure alone, with friends, or the people you love most. Now back to the show, where we're discussing the impact of social isolation and loneliness on our mental health. The erosion of community bonds, increased reliance on digital communication, and the breakdown of the traditional family structures contribute to widespread loneliness linked to depression and other mental health disorders. Since the 2020 COVID lockdowns, families stopped gatherings like Sunday dinners, backyard barbecues, and going out with friends even after the stay-at-home orders were lifted. This strategic social distancing that had nothing to do with stopping the spread of viruses, because there's no scientific proof that standing or sitting a certain distance away from someone can prevent a cough or sneeze virus from landing on you. However, what it successfully accomplished is that humans are out of practice at being in face-to-face contact with other humans. If you haven't caught our episode on the virtual signaling psychological operation, make sure you catch that, because this episode will make a lot more sense to you. So why has this happened? Because the plan is to have us all live, work, and play in controlled 15-minute cities where your movement and freedoms like going camping or fishing outside of your 15-minute zone will be limited, if not prohibited, in the future, all in a so-called attempt to protect the environment. But our ancestors were in constant contact with the natural world. They were the stewards of the land and waterways where they lived, and nature thrived and supported life before the mass production of food. This social distancing plan of 2020 was a test to see how compliant you'll be when your ability to get outside and adventure or go to visit grandma is regulated through social credit scores and travel passes. Social media exchange among ordinary people report concerns about superficial social connections and the loneliness epidemic. This loneliness epidemic refers to the widespread isolation or feeling of isolation and lack of meaningful social connections, particularly among younger and older demographics. Additionally, research points to loneliness as a significant factor in the mental health crisis. Although I personally have a diagnosis of anxiety and major depression, my symptoms are well managed without medication. You can listen to the Nutrient Connection Supplements Transforming Mental Health episode of our podcast to learn which vitamins and minerals support mental health. We include a downloadable list in the show description that you can discuss with your healthcare team. My natural health regimen has made me happy, confident, and adventurous. Here's how I went from not leaving my home out of fear for 18 months to living a big and adventurous life. First, remove all toxins from your life. I cleaned up the toxic chemicals in my food, water, and health and beauty products. Next, I adopted a Mediterranean-style diet and quality vitamins, minerals, and micronutrients, focusing on cell recovery, detoxification, anti-inflammatory, and cellular energy. There are episodes on this podcast that cover how to do all of these things. I ended all toxic relationships with friends and family and avoided distressing content in movies and social media. Remember, you need to get outside and adventure for your mental and physical health. I adopted a daily exercise routine no matter the weather or how I felt, even when I could barely move from the pain related to my broken back or lupus-like autoimmune disease. I still did something, even if it was just 5 minutes of yoga or stretching. Yet at the heart of this lifestyle was getting together outdoors with others 2 to 3 times a week for hiking, fishing, kayaking, and camping, for example. But we can't cover this topic without talking about divorce and family disruption and its impact on the mental health of everyone involved. Divorce can lead to emotional turmoil for both parents and children, contributing to increased stress, depression, and behavioral issues in children. It can also disrupt family support systems, financial disruption, and that are critical for good mental health. The impact of divorce and family dysfunction on mental health, highlighting how these changes can destabilize family life and mental well-being, is a topic of great discussion on social media. However, post-COVID lockdown, divorce rates are similar to rates before the lockdown. There's never a good reason to stay in an unhealthy marriage, so I'm not suggesting that people stay together no matter the physical and emotional costs or dangers. My best advice for establishing or reestablishing healthy relationships is to surround yourself with people with similar philosophies and lifestyles. Be your authentic self and be the family, friend, or partner that you want others to be in your life. Most people expect others to be good to them, and then in return, they'll be good to that person. But I treat my friends and family the way they want to be treated, because the way I want to be treated might not be how my family or friend wants to be treated. And they do the same with me. Following this model has helped me build the best relationships ever. Yet the cultural and political polarization has divided friends, family, and communities. The divisiveness around issues like politics, race, gender identity, immigration, and health policies, like those regarding vaccines, can create rifts within families, leading to stress, alienation, and mental health challenges. Since 2020, the impact of divisive issues has left families feeling the strain of differing opinions, which can lead to family conflict and emotional distress. These 5 problems are interconnected, often compounding each other to create a complex mental health landscape for American families. Addressing these would require a multifaceted approach, including policy changes, community support systems, and individual coping strategies. And it seems most Americans have lost their ability to cope with even the smallest of challenges. Since 2020, cultural shifts have happened at lightning speed. It's been a lot to learn, unlearn, and adapt to. My philosophy is simple. We can agree to disagree, and I don't have to stop liking you because you see things differently. Even if we disagree on social and political issues, I can still appreciate your good character and other important qualities about you, if you have them. Because good mental health matters to all of us. Good mental health is essential for a high quality of life, influencing our emotional, cognitive, and social functioning. It directly relates to physical health, reducing the risk of chronic diseases and enhancing immune function. Mental well-being boosts productivity, problem-solving capabilities, and resilience in professional and academic environments. It also enriches social interactions, fostering deeper connections and effective communication, supporting personal fulfillment and achievement. Economically, mental health impacts productivity and healthcare costs while socially contributing to a more engaged, cohesive community. After this break, we'll go deeper into the complexities of mental health and learn about some solutions to America's mental health problem. As we go deeper into the complexities of mental health, it's increasingly clear that one recurring issue, an epidemic of loneliness, plays a critical role in making these concerns worse. Loneliness is a contributing factor to despair and related deaths. Recent surveys indicate between 2017 and 2019, so many Generation Z youth and millennial adults lost their lives to deaths of despair. That U.S. life expectancy decreased for the first time in 100 years. In addition, according to the CDC, 1 in 5 millennials report having no friends. 56% of Gen Zers report loneliness in the past 12 months. And 5% of seniors are depressed, according to the Institute for Family Studies. Over the past 5 years at our annual adventure camp with the American Adventure Sports Club that I founded and operate with my co-founder, the kids ages 6 to 16 reported some disturbing trends. These are all direct quotes from kids over the years.
What kids told their camp counselors?
I don't know what people's faces are telling me.
I don't want to talk about my pronouns. Can't I just be a kid and forget about that stuff?
My teacher wants me to act like a girl and I don't want to because I'm a boy.
My mother got the COVID vaccine and she's always sick now. Is she gonna be okay?
I don't remember what it's like to play with other kids.
I'm glad I'm at camp because last week, I was thinking about different ways to kill myself, but I don't want to do that anymore.
After 4 days at camp, parents reported a noticeable improvement in their child's mood, behavior, and school performance. We emphasize teaching kids outdoor skills like archery, kayaking, and paddleboarding through a challenge by choice model and group therapy sessions during campfire talks. Try this with your kids.
The speed of social change had a traumatic impact on our nation's children. Loneliness peaks among young adults 18 to 24 and seniors over 65 with different causes. For the young, social media and transient lifestyles play roles. For older adults, it's often due to the loss of social networks through retirement or grief. The U.S. tends to have higher loneliness rates than many European countries where social networks and community structures are stronger. Dr. Nicholas Carderas, among others, has linked the rise in depression to the widespread use of technology and social media, suggesting that these tools, while connecting us globally, often lead to superficial interactions and a lack of deep, meaningful relationships. So here's what you need to know to understand the deaths of despair. The term deaths of despair was created by economists Ann Case and Angus Deaton to describe a specific trend in death rates observed in the United States. This phrase first appeared in their influential 2015 study, where they noted an alarming increase in death rates among middle-aged, non-Hispanic white Americans, particularly those without a college degree. These deaths were mainly due to suicide, drug overdose, especially from opioids, and alcohol-related liver disease, which together they term deaths of despair. The concept suggests that these deaths indicate broader societal issues, including economic distress, social isolation, and the lack of purpose or hope. Don't sleep on how important it is to have something you're passionate about that makes you feel good, useful, and a part of something bigger than yourself. Data from various studies show that since the late 1990s, there's been a visible increase in deaths of despair. Deaths from suicide, drug overdose, and alcohol-related deaths in the U.S. From 1999 to 2017, suicide rates among middle-aged white Americans saw a significant rise, with rates for those with a high school education or less being exceptionally higher. The opioid crisis has contributed dramatically to deaths of despair, with drug overdoses doubling from the early 2000s to 2017, hitting a peak not seen since data recording began. Alcoholic liver disease and alcohol-related accidents resulting in deaths also increase, particularly among less educated people who might also have fewer resources and access to prevention and treatment programs. The rise in crime and drug use connected to unchecked illegal immigration, allowing other nations to send their mentally unstable and criminally minded citizens across U.S. and other Western borders, is connected to these challenges. Creating specific strategies and resources that can help your family improve their mental health and foster resilience in the face of hard times is essential. Here's what we've learned from other countries with less mental health problems who also live longer and healthier lives. European countries generally have more comprehensive social safety nets and distinct community structures compared to the United States. Here are some of the key differences. Europe has universal health care funded by taxes, providing access without financial ruin. However, denial of service and long wait times are a frequent complaint in Europe and Canada. Generous and longer unemployment benefits like Germany's up to 24 months. Europe has extensive parental leave and subsidized childcare, exemplified by Sweden's 480 days. They have highly subsidized or free higher education, reducing student debt. Pension systems aimed at maintaining a near working life standard of living is what you'll see in many European countries, and a focus on affordable housing, including price-controlled rent, tiny homes, and RV living. However, Europe is has advanced economic challenges due to its immigration increases that are negatively impacting European citizens' access to the systems that once made mental health less of a problem within Europe. European community structures also emphasize strong local governance and social cohesion, although that's changing rapidly. They, in the past, have fostered a collective approach to societal issues, in contrast to the U.S.'s reliance on private insurance, limited unemployment support, lack of federal paid leave, high education costs, less generous pensions, and fewer housing options, reflecting historical, cultural, and political differences that impact outcomes in poverty, health, and social mobility. However, Americans want to help people more. Still, there are some big problems like the dollar isn't worth as much, our high national debt, the amount of money that we've spent on illegal immigration, the struggling economy, and many folks thinking that government is too involved in their lives already. America would not thrive under a similar system like you see in Europe. But here's how we could still make things better. Let's examine blue zones, longevity, and happiness. Blue zones are regions where people live significantly longer than average. These include places like Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Ikaria, Greece, Nicoya, Costa Rica, and Loma Linda, California, USA. In these areas, how long you live is linked to social engagement through strong community and family ties, having a clear sense of purpose in your daily life, adopting a healthy lifestyle like the adventure sports lifestyle that I practice, eating natural, unprocessed foods, drinking plenty of clean water, half your body weight in ounces per day at a minimum, avoiding toxic chemicals, getting daily physical activity, spending time in nature, close relationships with friends and family, and natural stress relievers like social interactions during meals filled with laughter and space for you to be your authentic self. The happiness and health in blue zones are often due to these cultural practices that promote well-being and a sense of community members helping and supporting each other. Now that is something that would do very well in America. The mental health challenges faced by American families are deeply intertwined with economic, social, and cultural factors. Addressing issues such as economic strain, lack of access to mental health services, social isolation, divorce, and cultural polarization requires a comprehensive strategy that includes not only individual and family support, but also wide-ranging changes at community and policy levels. Prioritizing mental health is essential for fostering resilience, enhancing quality of life, and building stronger, more connected communities. Your good health begins with you taking daily steps to improve your mental and physical health. It's also crucial to remember that good mental health is not just an individual concern, it's a collective responsibility that, when addressed, can lead to a thriving society for all. If you're getting value from this content, leave us a review wherever you get your podcast to make it easier for others to find us. Until next time, friends, I'm your host, Antoinette Lee, the Wellness Warrior, here at the New Normal Big Life podcast. I hope one day to see you on the river, in the backcountry, or the horse barn, living your best life. Tag New Normal Big Life and NBL blog on X so we can celebrate your good health and big life. If you're a visual learner, you can watch an informative and entertaining version of this video on YouTube coming soon on the New Normal Big Life channel. Share this episode with someone who needs it. Comment on our posts and drop us a message or email. Nothing personal or too specific when you have a health or adventure sports topic you want us to cover, and support others in this community.
Since 2012, the Health Ranger store has been answering your calls for a trustworthy, responsive, and affordable source of health-focused products. Built from scratch with its own US-based fulfillment center and dedicated in-house customer support, they've got you covered. From nutritional supplements and superfoods to storable foods and preparedness gear, they offer competitive prices on top-quality, lab-tested items. I'm excited to partner with the Health Ranger store to bring you the purest, most reliable products out there. Ready to shop? Use my affiliate link to get started.